Hey, Misha. So tell me, what does that jacket mean to you?
Well, this is a lot of hard work and organizing on my part. You know, the USADA app, it's a time consuming thing, but I think it's important, you know? So, like whereabouts, right? I move around a lot, and so I'm constantly having to update that, but it's worth it because I want to know that who I'm fighting is having to do the same thing and is clean. So, anyways, this jacket for me, I know I'm accountable and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's a nice way to be recognized for that hard work. As mentioned, the public doesn't always see that we have to clock in 365 days a year, regardless of where we're going, what we're doing. We have to be accountable for our time and our space. And I do appreciate that it's mutually appreciated.
And over the years, once USADA got implemented, over the years, we've seen certain fighters say they enjoy the peace of mind. Other fighters, say they're going to fight regardless. They don't care if their opponent's cheating or not. Like they have that extreme confidence that they can overcome whatever a PED may, bring. Where do you fall in that? Like, do you enjoy that extra peace of mind that we're all on the same level playing field?
Yes, I absolutely enjoy the peace of mind. I think that people who don't regard how much performance enhancing drugs can make this an unsafe place or that they would simply be able to just be better, mm, they probably are a bit naive to how much performance enhancing drugs can truly make you into something that is beyond any realistic human capability. And when you're talking about a full contact sport where you're taking blows to the head and the body, as well as the veracity of which you could even rip submissions and things like that. I just think it's not, it's not a good thing to have some people cheating and other people playing by the rules. It needs to be clean across the board. So for me, it's definitely worth making sure that I'm accountable so that the people that I'm fighting are also accountable.
Gotcha. And heading into this fight, going back up to bantamweight, how are you feeling physically, making that jump back up to your old weight class?
So good. I've been able to keep my caloric intake very high this training camp. I never had to go on a severe deficit, which is great. Making 125, I'm proud of myself. It just goes to show when I set my mind to something, I can do it because that was not easy. It took months and months and months of dieting, and I'm already pretty lean at 135. So to get down to 125 just meant I had to strip muscle off of my body. There wasn't really much room to play with body fat. So it ended up not being a good thing for me. Hormonally, I had some complications and I was just too lean for a female. So I think 135 is where it's at. I may not be the biggest 135-pound female out there, but I don't think that I need to be the biggest to be the best. I feel good and I know what I'm capable of when I feel good.
Physically out of the way, but let's talk a little bit about mentally where you're at right now because coming off of 2 losses, throughout your career, you've never lost 3 in a row. So where's the confidence level coming into this fight against Julia?
Very confident. I feel very, very good. So, look, 125 was an experiment. I know that on my record it says, yes, that I lost that fight, and I did lose that fight, but it was an experiment, and it wasn't the right decision for me. So I kind of really look at my career as a 135er and just say, look, 125, well, it was an error. I wouldn't know how I would do there unless I tried it, and I did it. I didn't like it. So back to 135. And since my return, I've had one very dominant win and finish. And I had a very close decision in my second fight back again for 5 rounds in a main event against a top 5 ranked fighter after 5 years of not doing anything. I think if that doesn't speak to volumes of how close I am to still being one of the best in the world, then maybe people are being a bit short-sighted at just looking at a piece of paper. But I really think that fight, that my second to last fight, really could have gone either way. I think it was very close, very close. So, I'm still there, still competing very closely with the best women in the division.
And what do you make of Julia as an opponent? Because when she was in here, she was talking about, she gave you credit for your wrestling ability, but she believes she has an edge, if the fight were to go to the ground. So where do you see, what do you see in her as an opponent, and where do you see your biggest advantage in this fight?
Yeah. Like I think one of my biggest advantages in this fight is that there aren't many cards in the deck that I haven't seen as a veteran. So yes, there's a skill set across the board that you could measure out and say, oh, she should be better in this area, she should be better in that. But really, the unpredictability is something that people don't always take into account, that I've seen a lot. I've been in there a lot. I've experienced a lot. And I think I have to be prepared for anything with Julia Avila because she hasn't fought in so long. So I know that when I came back after a 5-year layoff, I felt like a completely different fighter. I really fell in love with my striking, and I was doing much better than I think I ever had in my entire career with my hands. But it's been a while since she's fought. She's had a baby. So she may come in this fight with an entirely different stance. She may come out a southpaw. I don't know. I mean, it's been a while. She may be playing with different things that, and I'm sure she's worked really hard in her wrestling. So in effort to not get too carried away, I guess my point is that I'm very flexible in my fight IQ and being able to change things on the fly. I do think that I have an advantage in the wrestling, and I surely think in the grappling as well. And I think on the feet, we're probably pretty even, I think that we can trade, we can both take punches, and we're both aggressive on the feet. So I think that's anybody's, I mean, I think I'll be fine there. I'm not going to shy away from that area, but I do think I have clear advantages in this fight.
I just wanted to go back to one thing you said about how you had to lose muscle to get down. We hear that sometimes in MMA where like Kayla Harrison or Chris Cyborg, they're bigger women, so everyone goes, well, if they just lost muscle, then they could make the lower weight. But do people not realize how difficult it is to actually shed muscle like that?
They must not. I don't think that most people realize how difficult any of this is. Most people can't even stick to a normal diet. They say, oh, I want to lose I want to lose weight, and they're not even, willing or able to do that. So I think for an athlete to shave muscle off of their body it's difficult. Yeah, and it feels terrible, actually. It's kind of, it's like this burning feeling in your body. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like your muscle just being liquefied. It's not a very nice feeling. So, yeah, easier said than done. And I also think that when you're losing muscle, you're also losing even more body fat, which, again, there's a point where it's not healthy for anybody, but the women's body's a little different in that sense too, like a little bit more, I think, body fat to be able to feel and thrive at our best. So, yeah, I think I've always pushed the edge of the envelope when that comes to low body fat and losing the muscle. Like, why? I just want to be where my body feels good. Yeah, not an easy thing to do.
Sure. And you mentioned how you're okay with the flyweight thing the way it went because you see yourself as a bantamweight. But are you happy that you did it, just to at least say that I tried it, I wanted to see it? Are you happy that you did give it a go?
I'm very happy that I have the perspective now. I believe in my my very first fight back when I fought Marion Renault. I came into fight week at about 139, and I think fight day was the same, 139. And so, yeah, I wasn't very big, and I think the UFC was looking at me saying, she's a flyweight. She's a flyweight. But my body's filled out again very well. I feel like I'm back to where I was. And now I feel very strong and full and healthy and lean at 135. So I'd rather be stronger than smaller. Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at right now. I mean, it wasn't like I wasn't performing well in practice and in theory at 125. I did. But the mental and emotional toll of having to diet so stringently for months and months. And mind you guys, can I point out that I did Celebrity Big Brother during a camp? That was terrible. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but I do. It came through the UFC, and I said, can I still do my trainings? And it was very naive of me to think that I could do both. But I tried my best. But you guys, we were living under halogen lights for 6 weeks. And we had interviews sometimes at 2 a.m. with those bright lights in your face. And I wasn't even allowed to have a pen. Couldn't even write down my food intake, my calories. So, the mental stress of that in that fight camp leading up was really tough. And it's a good thing that I won and made $350,000 because it wouldn't have been worth it otherwise.
At what point during the filming of Celebrity Boob did you think, I really wish I didn't say yes to this?
Yeah, probably after the first week.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first week wasn't so bad. I still was trying to stay on my sleep rhythm. I woke up early in the mornings. But when I thought we had outdoor access, we had outdoor access some of the days, and it was still under a plastic tarp. So actually no real vitamin D, which I'm very big on, getting out and getting straight UV rays to the skin and making vitamin D. We were under like a kind of those milky clear tarps. So everything that I did was, I'm hyper vigilant on the way that I sleep, the way that I supplement, the way that I eat, the way that, I mean, down to the T. And it was near impossible inside that house. Not to mention, at any point, we could be doing a competition or we're supposed to be strategizing how to, defeat this, So, I mean, there was a whole element of that really threw a big wrench in the preparation and threw my body out of whack. And I'm so mentally tough that I stuck it out. And I still remember that the counselor, there's a counselor that's on hand pretty much 24/7 because people melt down in that house. It is a human social experiment. We felt like little lab rats, but I was the only one who did not speak to the counselor the entire time. I am just an internalization machine. So I was internalizing a lot, and that was really tough. So, you live and you learn. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. What doesn't, break you, I think just, again, elevates my belief in my ability to overcome. But in hindsight, it wasn't a good decision. And, wasn't a good decision in the sense that it was impossible to keep everything that I really feel like I needed to be prepared. So that was part of that journey as well. But it's in the past. I've learned from it. Really proud of myself from being able to do it. Right? I don't think many people could understand how difficult that is, much less get through it. So I did it, and now I'm happy that this was actually a very good, healthy, balanced camp.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Miesha, you've gone toe-to-toe with the best in the world. There you marked your stamp as a legendary career. What goals, is the eye still on the championship gold, or what do you want to accomplish still?
Well, I want to accomplish a ready transition, I guess. So my goal is not to give up on myself or quit on myself before the time for change is actually here. So a lot of people, again, will look at my record and say, she lost her last two, and she should retire. I hear these words, and I just want to throw it out there to anybody, never to quit on themselves based on what other people say, and never too early. Really give it your all. So that's what I'm here to do. I don't know if that looks like any specific thing. It's just, it feels right to be here right now. It feels like this is what I'm meant to do. This is what I want to be doing. So I think when all those things come together and you know that it's right, then it's right. And at some point, this chapter is going to close, and I certainly think I'm much closer to the end of it than I ever, have been before. But, it didn't stop with my last fight. And I don't know if it'll stop with this fight. I really feel like at any fight, at any point, could be my final fight. And I'm okay with that because I've built an emperor-worthy life that I feel like these wins and losses don't define me anymore. It's not just everything like it used to be. Don't take that the wrong way. I have worked my butt off for this camp, and I want to win this fight more than anything. I've worked so hard, and I've sacrificed, and I've loved the process, and I want to win, and I really believe that I'm going to. But again, I'm much more effort-based than ever before, But if I win on Saturday, that's what I feel like it's meant to be. But if I didn't, guess what? I wake up on Sunday, my kids are still going to be kissing me, my fiance is still going to be there. My parents are here. Like, we're going to go enjoy Austin, Texas, you know? So I guess having that mental and emotional flexibility as an athlete gives me a unique and freeing perspective on being able to go in and just have fun, like just fight. I am going to fight my ass off, and I'm taking the pressure off. No more fight with the scale, no more celebrity Big Brother, no more like this nonsense. Like, figure it out, Miesha, you know? So I'm very focused on what I want in this moment. And can I just give a really big shout out to the UFC right now for Micah? He is the mental coach there at the UFC Performance Institute, who's free and available to us and has absolutely changed my life. He's not only changed my life as far as fighting goes, because he's there for performance reasons, but everything that I take away about being present for a practice or a fight or competition, like, be here right now. So we've all got laptops and computers and all these things, the demands we're meeting all day long. So our minds are racing all day. And it's like, how do we just get present with what we want out of this moment and not be where we were yesterday or what we need to do in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and tomorrow? You know, and that's difficult as a parent to not have our mind. Like, for me, I have 2 small kids, 5 and 3. So, like, how can I be at practice and not be thinking, okay, I need to, oh my gosh, grocery list and laundry and school and this and packing lunch and be getting ready for practice? Like, that's not, it doesn't work well like that. And so I was missing that mark for a little while, just not knowing there was a better way to be. Grounding myself with my senses, being present in the moment, deciding, look, this is what I want out of this moment and this is what I want out of this moment, and I'm going to get the most out of those. You know, now I go to practice, there's no bullshit. I warm up, I train, I leave. I'm fully focused on that. No more thinking about other stuff. And when I go home, fully focused on my kids. When I go, you know, do other things, fully focused on that. That's a game changer. If anybody is not doing that, I highly recommend it, because I just didn't know how valuable of a skill set that was. And in my last fight, as I mentioned, I went down to 125, felt like the fight was kind of more with the scale, and I was somewhere else in the fight. I don't know where I was, and I don't know how it's possible to not be present when someone's trying to take your head off. Call it a maladaptive coping skill, but I think sometimes when I just get like high pressured situation, I'm like, like I kind of check out, or I have before. I would say that's happened 2 times to me. When I fought Raquel Pennington and when I fought at 125. Sorry, now I'm drawing a blank on her name. But anyways, when I fought at those were 2 times when I felt like there were so many other things on my mind and plate before the fight that by the time the fight rolled around, I was kind of already done. I was like burnt out. And I really feel like I had to change that. And that's when I started going to see Micah. And I can say I'm really reinvigorated. And sorry, that was a very long-winded answer to whatever. I don't even remember what the question was. So I've just been rambling for a moment here. But in truth, that is what has been so different about this camp, is learning how to be present and engaged in the moment. What I want out of every moment, I'm getting the most out of those moments. And that's a really beautiful quality to have in life in general. So
You don't know when that time is going to come yet, but if you were to emerge victorious this Saturday night, is there a specific person that you're eyeing that you're like, hey, I want this fight next?
You know, I feel a bit short-sighted right now, to be honest. I have not even thought about that until you guys started asking me that. You're the second person to ask me that, and I should have expected it from media. You know, of course, what's next? I have no idea. I wish I had a better answer for you, but honestly, I think what's next for me is a win on Saturday, and then I'm going to take my kids, and we're going to party in the town of Austin, kid style. We're going to go check out the kids museum and get ice cream. And then we're going to go home and we're going to celebrate Christmas. We're going to have a beautiful Christmas as a family. And then I'll kind of regroup and see. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. But I think that's a pretty good plan for at least until the first of the year.
Last one. How excited are you to fight in Austin? You mentioned you're going to go around, see the city. I mean, what does it mean to fight in Austin, Texas?
It's so cool. I'm so excited to fight here. So I've never been to Austin, Texas, but I'll tell you what, in places that I have left to travel inside the U.S., this was on my top 5 list of places that I hadn't been that I just really wanted to go. And I feel like it's great that we're here and we're staying a few extra days, as I think I mentioned. So I'm going to take my family around and we're going to enjoy Austin and some great barbecue food afterwards. And I'm also really glad that this is open to the public, right? So that's another benefit. There's some positives to fighting in Vegas. Obviously, it's my hometown. I don't have to leave my house, right? There's nice things about that. But there's something special about fighting in front of an audience. And I'm really looking forward to being at the Moody Center. It's beautiful from the photos that I've seen. I have yet to see it in person. But I think it's going to be fantastic. A lot of my family and friends came out to Austin to support me, which I'm also grateful for. And grateful that they could, because I think they would also in Vegas, but the Apex just doesn't hold the people. So that's also really nice to feel like I have a whole tribe behind me. All right, thanks, guys.